Big question, does it count as a field find if you find it in your own field? Hi, it's Mr. Goodpliers. I'm out in my storage lot today, and I'm going to be showing you a couple vehicles that I've bought over the years. First one to show you is this 1960 Chevrolet Biscayne. I bought this car on May 18th of 2013, and that was up in rural Pierce, Nebraska. The car came from the estate of Gilbert Fuchs, and you guys will notice the town of Pierce, Nebraska being pretty famous for the Lambrecht Chevrolet dealership. And that dealership was sold, at least the cars and parts and memorabilia, later on that fall. That was September 28th, 29th of 2013. And of course that was the famous Yvette Vanderbrink who had that auction. That was a sale that drew crowds from all over the world, and you guys can look up a little more on her website. I'll have details posted there. You can also look on YouTube also. There's quite a few videos made out of other guys' trips there. Probably one of my favorites is Daniel Dan. He had a pretty complete walk around and description of the vehicles that were there. At the auction there were lots of salvage vehicles to pick from. It was kind of the junkyard or boneyard at the edge of town, and this car was one on my short list, and I kind of bid up for it just because it was black and that was appealing to me. I have a thing for black cars, and the other thing I liked about it was that the interior, you can see inside there is gray, and it had the radio delete plate and the clock delete also, and those things just kind of reminded me of an old cop car. It is the Biscayne model. It has the rubber floor mats, or what you can still see of it. It's pretty decayed and crumbling, but I've seen people replace even ones that are in good shape when they do restorations. So this car just kind of spoke to me, and it's got a few missing pieces, but I have several parts cars out here, so that wasn't too big of a deal to me. Few missing parts, when you have a yard full of parts vehicles, it's not that big of a deal to grab a few replacements and make a car complete. Now the big question, you know, were these cars sold at the Lambrecht dealership? You know, there's a good chance, and I guess what I would want to know or need to know is who at that sale, which I've told there was somebody who bought the records of the vehicles. That was the list of invoices as they were sold from the dealership. And I'm kind of trying to trace that down, who that might have been. So guys and gals, if you're watching this and you are or know of that person who got those sales records and invoices, I'd be very interested in hearing from you. That would be something that I think would add a little bit of value monetarily to the car, but most importantly and mainly for me, it adds to being able to tell the story of the history and the provenance of the car. It's one of those that I'm not, particularly in love with, so I would consider selling it if it were to the right person who would, take it and kind of bring it back to its former glory and just again, be a part of telling the story of the car and keeping it going and preserving a rolling artifact of our country's and the state of Nebraska's history. Second vehicle I have to show you today is the 1961 Chevrolet pickup. This thing is buried in the woods. It's hard to believe I've only had the truck for 7 years. Got that probably 3-inch tree growing up in it. And these cars and trucks that I bought, the 60 and the 61, sat in Gibbs junkyard there. There were a few pieces robbed off of them. This truck is really pretty straight. It's got, see the old signage there on the doors from the hog farm. I've got patches for these front fenders. Rocker panel patches are pretty cheap to buy new. Bed itself is decent. Obviously needs the wood and the strips. I've got a good tailgate for it over at the shop. Had a Ford tailgate stolen once, so I kind of like to keep them inside out of the way. Few bolt-on pieces been taken apart, but I've got good door panels for it, and all these kind of parts are things that you fairly regularly find anymore. These trucks were built from 60 to 63 with this knee knocker cab or the wraparound windshield. So that's several years there that a guy can harvest parts from. Floor's pretty decent in her too. Same deal as the 60 Biscayne, just really itching to know if they were sold at the Lambrecht dealership or not. Has the old diamond plate step bumper. Some of these had the dealer logos on them, stamped or whatever, but this one here particularly does not. Just a good old farm truck. I even collected some of the correct colored patina original 6-lug rims for it. This truck's had the rear end gutted out, but I've got other stock 6-lug rears out here if a guy wanted to keep it stock. Some dings and bumps here and there, but really overall it's a pretty good truck for someone looking to build one.